I love it when a character has kind of that tact and understanding and they're ready for the situation and they manipulate the bad guy into doing exactly what they need to do. Welcome back to the Men's Adventure Fiction Podcast. I'm Nathaniel Hummel here with L.S. Goodish, and it is good to be back. I don't know when the last time we recorded is, but it has seemed like an eternity. But it's cool. I'm very happy to be back. We are coming to the close of October somehow, which is truly absurd. But that means one good thing, for sure, and that is that Diamonds in Denver, a Mitch Mayhew story, came out at time of recording this day, yesterday for when this goes live. Super exciting stuff. Congratulations, Terrence, on a fantastic story coming out, and very excited for you guys to check it out.
Absolutely going to second that, dude. Mitch Mayhew's such an exciting character, and I keep telling Terrence that I'm very excited for us to eventually write Noah and him together, because the fact that they're both in the same time period and both fly, there's too much of there's no reason not to. There's too much possibility there, and it makes me so excited when I read something like Diamonds in Denver. It just gets me more hyped for the character. The way he's able to take something like Unwanted Passenger, which won our Men's Adventure Fiction May contest, and kind of, he doesn't copy that. He makes a whole new flavor, a whole new type of story. Feels more crime-like, and set with that 1920s. There is like the word that he uses for that kind of 1920s vibe, but I can't think of it right now because idiot. But it's a very fun, it's a very fun story that you should definitely pick up. If you liked the first one, by all means pick this one up. And then even if you haven't read the first one, you can start here. But buy both of them. They're short, and you're gonna want to read both of them. So get into Mitch Mayhew right now, obviously.
Stop what you're doing. Go pick it up. It's really cool. It really like leans into the 1920s, whatever that word is that
Art
neither of us.
Deco.
Yeah, there you go. Nice 1920s Art Deco. There's some speakeasies. It's cool because it's out west. It's Denver, but there's still that high class city vibe going on at the same time. It's a really good blending of things, but there's a little bit of Western flair, a little bit of Sky Pilot flair. It's just a ton of fun stuff. So check it out. Super excited about that. But how have you been, brother? Like I said, it's been a minute.
Yeah, doing all right. I mean, the last couple of days I've been sick, which I haven't been sick for a very long time, dude, since January. And I know that because I got sick the day before I was going to start my new position as an outpatient therapist. And I was like, dude, no way. If I'm going to have to cancel all my clients on the first day. No, but I luckily was fine by the day, when I woke up. But I remember being sick then, and Shauna said, this always happens to me. Every time I go around bragging, like, dude, I haven't been sick. I get sick. And I was doing that a little bit the last couple of weeks. I was like, I haven't been sick since January. How cool is that? And then got sick. So don't do that, I guess.
And that was hot on the heels of both of us being sick for like 3 years, right?
Oh, because, back then, yeah.
Yeah, because in November of last year, so almost a year away, is when we met up and we got The Cowboy and the Criminal and the Fighting Heart of Man live action trailer. And then I got sick for like 3 months. And I think right before you came to that, you had pneumonia for like a month or something crazy.
And then I remember very specifically being sick around Christmas. So I was, definitely right in November sick, and then December sick, and then January sick. So that was not a good time for us, I guess.
Let's hope that this is not the start of sick holidays round 2. Yeah. Well, hopefully you're on the mend and you'll be back in action. We are also, though, on the eve of the Las Vegas International Pipe Show.
Very exciting.
This goes live on Wednesday. Thursday is a free day, and then 6:30 a.m. on Friday, I will be flying out, jet setting across the country. Luckily, I went to Goodwill yesterday and got the 6 suit And it feels very 70s, but it also, I think, if I wear like a white shirt and maybe a black tie, I'll look like one of the Rat Pack guys, which is perfect because those guys lived in Vegas. They just took over Vegas in the 60s and 70s. So I'll be channeling my inner Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra out there. But we will have a table at the Vegas Pipe Show. Us and Get Piped, which is a super big podcast tobacco pipe guys. Super cool. They announced it on their podcast, so we can announce it now. They put together a short story collection that plays off of their podcast, which has just about 200 episodes, and they do a really fantastic job of writing kind of the heart behind J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis's work, where those guys were super famous, fantastic authors who wove. They just put pipe smoking into their stuff. It wasn't necessarily the point of what they wrote, but I mean, Fellowship of the Ring has a whole entire chapter dedicated to, it's like, I think it's called Concerning Pipe Weed or something like that. So that dude loved smoking his pipes. I think C.S. Lewis, maybe it's J.R.R. Tolkien, one of these guys was known for saying, today is I praise the Lord every day because it's another 24 hours in which I can smoke my pipe. So those guys loved just puffing on some tobacco.
They would have been at the pipe show.
They would have been at the pipe show for sure, with books, which is what we'll be doing. So we have their collection is called Tales of Fire and Briar, and it will eventually release on Amazon. But it was having its debut at the pipe show, so check it out if you like. It has some fantasy, it has some more like slice of life stuff, it has some action, some adventure, everything in between, and it's really awesome. It was a pleasure getting to work with these guys and get that set up. So that'll be coming out at the pipe show in the heart of Alexandria. We'll be there. Fire in the Tall Grass will be there. Treasure is My Trade, Fighting Heart of Man. We'll see. I got a Spirit Airlines ticket, so I am literally bringing probably this suit, a shirt, and just books. Maybe I'm going to try and fit in another pair of pants. We'll see. But we're riding into the sunset.
I don't think you've seen Wolf of Wall Street, you said, right?
No, I have not.
All right, well, you can even see it in the trailer if you want to see it afterwards, but there's a scene where they're trying to take money across the country, and they start taping it to this girl all around her body, and that's going to be the books, dude, just taping books around your stomach and chest. You're just going to be, all right, hit me, and you're just going to keep layering them, and you're going to look 400 pounds going in there.
If I could do that without ripping the covers up, I would, because I'm not sure I'm going to make it. Speaking of which, we should also have Timber and Smoke magazines there, which we talked about before, I think, on the podcast. But super cool. I left mine in the other room, so I don't have it. But it is a very high-quality magazine made by our friend MP Dean. He joined the Discord and reached out to Luke and I and everyone in the Discord about short stories and content for that. And it is a pipe and tobacco and cigar focused magazine, but it has some short stories. There's 2 issues so far, and the third one just went live to pre-order. And he also rolled out a subscription where these magazines are, like I said, super high quality. They're only $10 a pop, which is fantastic price. Nice. I don't remember if there's, maybe it's like $2 for shipping, something like that. Not sure off the top of my head, but really, really good. And if you join the subscription, it will be $9 a magazine. But I think you pay, I don't know, it's something, a base rate for the whole entire year. And then they just get shipped to your doorway when they come out. So definitely check that out if you like short stories, if you like learning about the hobby. It's going to have artisan spotlights. So he has several different pipe carvers that he has on the docket who are going to be telling stuff. So if you like anything kind of artisanal or learning about something that you've maybe never learned about or something that you dabble in, check out Timber and Smoke magazine.
Even if you're just somebody who hasn't gotten into pipes yet, but you're one who wants to get off your phone a little bit more, try this out. Get a magazine so you can, on Sundays or whatever, you can get rid of your phone for a day. Just read that.
Yeah, dude.
Start smoking a pipe, chilling, using your brain a little bit more rather than just the passive scroll, because you deserve a little more interaction with yourself. Yeah.
100%. I was thinking about that the other day. As my birthday happened a few weeks ago and I turned 28, I remember my wife saying, like, do you feel older? And I was like, no, I still feel like I'm college aged. Like, I feel like I hit like 22, 23, and I have felt that way every birthday since. But I think part of that is because I spend so much dang time on my phone. You know what I mean? Like, no men's adventure fiction hero is clocking 5 hours of screen time on their phone.
Right.
That's not a. I mean, maybe it is in the society we live in, but that's like doesn't seem quite like an adult thing to do. Like they're probably reading a book or scribbling down notes about the treasure they're about to find or drinking martinis. Like, I don't know. They're probably not on their phone, but I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. It was just hit me the other day.
I mean, we both have been kind of on this topic of we need to get off the phone for many reasons, and I think that's why I love what we do at Veritas and trying to give, especially the younger generation, like some books that would be interesting to them and get them away from the phone. I think just the ability to think and sit in silence should not be a challenge, and I feel like it's becoming more and more a challenge. You tell someone to go sit in a room for a day, like with just books around, whatever, their phone is nowhere to be seen, they're going to have a rough time, most likely. And that shouldn't be the case. Even, let's say you forget your phone and you go to the bathroom, or you forget your phone and you go do something. You shouldn't be like pulling your hair out, like, what's going on here? I need my phone.
Dude.
We're all itching. We're all going through withdrawal. It's like, that's a problem. You have a problem. And we need to
Crazy.
get back into the ability to think not, so widely, but deeply. I've been having this metaphor come to me a lot lately where it's like, if you have a garden, let's say your mind's the garden, and you're planting seeds, that would be knowledge. It's good to water that with like whatever, a hose and whatnot that you water plants with.
Right.
Cool. And that'd be books or conversation with a good friend. But what we do when we have the internet and it's just like scroll, self-help, audiobook, this, and so much information overload, is you're watering that garden with a fire hose, and it's going to shoot down through the soil, blow out those those seeds, and everything's just going to go everywhere. Your values, everything's up in arms because you just blasted it with way more knowledge than you're ever going to be able to comprehend. And I've been noticing that it's like the more I have access to, it does not mean the smarter I am. It's actually dumber because I'm not retaining any of it, and I'm just like service level glazing everything. I would much rather determine what are my values, what do I want to grow in, plant those seeds, and then choose wisely some few things to study deeply rather than what I've been doing, if that makes sense.
Dude. Very well said. That's a really cool concept that I have not thought of before. The old fire hose to the brain. It does not sound like a good way to live.
Yeah. That's how I see it.
And this is obviously kind of caveated with the fact that we wouldn't know each other if it wasn't for our phones, right? And I write through my phone. That's most of the way that I'm just so much faster with my thumbs than I am with the old typing hands. But that's the problem, right? It's finding the balance and figuring out what it is. And I wish there was, I'm sure there is, you probably have to pay for it though, a way to like lock out your phone to just one app or two apps for a period of time, because that's inevitably the issue. I'll be like, okay, well, I can't find this book in paperback or anything like that, but I found it on ebook online. Let me read this book for a few minutes. And I remember that's how I read all of the Chester Drum books, was ebooks on my phone. And brother, let me tell you, I would get 5 minutes in, notification comes. Swipe the first one away. 3 minutes later, notification comes. I'm sitting there an hour later being like, what was I doing?
Right.
Why am I not reading about Chester Drum? And you're gone. The same thing with writing. I'll be like, all right, I got a nice free night. I'm going to go smoke my pipe in the shed, have a cigar, something like that. I'm going to write the whole time. Next thing you know, I'm on a Discord call talking. Right. It's because your mind, at least my mind, is so. This is why I have all these like secret rules with myself. That I got to do so many push-ups or pull-ups every single year. Oh, I have to do my workout first thing in the morning. It's because I know that I am the laziest dude of all time. I just have to have the opportunity to rear that ugly head for it to happen. As soon as that opportunity is presented, I'm done for it. You know what I mean? Like if it's like, oh, I got to do something in the morning, I got to skip my workout till later. I get home, it's like I don't want to work out now. That's past the time, and so then I don't work out. Or oh, this was a good chance to write. Let me just check on the Instagram real quick, and then next thing you know, you're half an hour in. That chance to write is gone. So I think it is the ultimate two-edged sword, and how to handle that, I do not know. But I really like what you were saying there of information overload and shooting yourself in the foot, essentially, to try and get where you need to go. It's not the way to do it. But
Real times, dude, the phones are tough.
the phones are tough. But this whole conversation, actually, I feel like walks us into the topic for the day. If you want to lay it on the good people.
Yeah, of course. We were thinking we would do something like the Gentlemen of Men's Adventure Fiction, or the Comprehensive Men of Men's Adventure Fiction, and kind of Nathaniel had this idea of breaking them down into 5 different categories, and we could each pick a character that represents this aspect of being a comprehensive man or a gentleman, however you want to see it.
Right.
We'd have a discussion on that. So I think it's going to be a fun topic. I've got my characters locked and loaded. Nathaniel's probably got his characters locked and loaded. Could be a good conversation.
Yeah, I spent longer than I thought trying to compile this list. I was laying in bed with my wife, and she's like, "What you writing about?" And I was just sitting there looking at the ceiling. I was like, "I'm trying to figure out this list." Now, this is not a comprehensive list of comprehensive man attributes,
Right.
but it's kind of close. But we can just get started. Do we want to give each of the 5 off the rip, and that way we can have people in suspense? You, the listener, will be like, "Oh, what are they going to pick for 1 through 5?" Or do we want to do them as we do them? What are you thinking?
We can lay it all on him now if you'd like.
Yeah, dude, let's put the hurt down. I'll read my base word, and you can give the actual thought out description that you gave, because those were sick. So here we go. Let's see here. Number 1 is not in any particular order, because I don't feel like any of these are more important than the other. But 1 would be dresses for the occasion, and then you said well dressed, which was perfect. 2 would be able to handle themselves in any situation, and you kind of broke that down into composed and capable. Then 3, I don't know that this is necessarily the right word, which is why I put 3 question marks afterwards, but compassionate. And you said empathetic, compassionate, which is a good way to drop it down. 4 was physical, force, presence, fitness, kind of like all of those things. And you said physically capable, self-discipline. And then final 1 is very simple, know things, which you said cultivated, knowledgeable. So pretty cool. We got a nice little list here to work off of. And like I said, I don't know what Luke thinks, but I don't think that is everything it takes to be a gentleman. But I think it's a good 5 basic principles to work on. Now, do you want to go first, or shall I? For dress as well.
You could take it away, because I texted you my list, and I don't know your list, so
We'll keep you up. Dude, this was tough. This one I was originally thinking, for every one of these, I tried to go off the beaten path. Hopefully I have not talked about these guys before. I think that is true. But we talked about them earlier in the episode. This one, you're going to get a 2 for here. My first thought was, obviously, when you think dress as well, you think James Bond. But classically, and funnily enough, according to Fleming's writings, Bond is actually not necessarily the king of sartorial design. The guy would wear that blue single-breasted suit, and apparently it was a little ratty. It had like some holes in it, and he wore a short sleeve button-up and a knit black tie, which knit ties are sick. And then he would never wear shoes with laces because he hated tying his shoes. So he's rolling around in loafers, which is interesting because those are not necessarily the good chase shoes. So we could probably do a whole episode on just that fit alone and break that down. So the actual fiction Bond is not necessarily... I'm sure he looks sharp, but he's not necessarily super passionate about clothing. And then that got me kind of thinking even more, dude, that when you pick a well-dressed individual, if you go back to the 50s, 60s, 70s, everybody wore suits on the regular. So now it became, who wears suits better than everybody else? And to that I had to go the first pick was the Rat Pack, dude, because those dudes were the kings of class. I remember seeing, I follow Dean Martin official on Instagram, and they posted up a video of him, and I can't remember what it had to do with. I think it was just him singing songs and showing him at different shows, and I was like, the song is fantastic, but let's not forget that this dude was fitted up in every single picture. He had really nice single-breasted suits. They had the skinnier ties. They wore classic white shirts. Sometimes they would do gray suits, brown suits, black ties, white shirts, anything you could think of. And the king of the sweater and a polo or a dress shirt underneath, slacks that sometimes were a little high, nice loafers, dress shoes, always smoking cigarettes, dude. Tuxedos for sure. I mean, Dean Martin had the Dean Martin roasts, and every single week he would wear just an absolute fantastic tuxedo. Sometimes he'd do like a bigger bow tie and bigger lapels. It's just ultimate class. So Dean Martin is my favorite of the Rat Pack. But I mean, Frank Sinatra was killing it. Sammy Davis Jr. was killing it. If you want a lesson on style and class, just look up the original Ocean's 11's outfits, because they are truly spectacular. So.
Yeah, what I love that they highlight is that, style, fashion, sometimes people think it's got to be something very complex that they don't understand. I don't understand how, what colors work together, what not.
Right.
You don't really have to know much of anything. Like, it is all about, they were simplistic. Those were very simple outfits. It's all about fit, basically, like making sure your suit doesn't fit too baggy or too tight. Like, they had like a very sleek, well-tailored suit. You could do that with just a gray suit or a black suit and a white shirt. You're going to look fantastic. It's all about that fit and the silhouette you make, and they really showcase that well.
Right, and how you carry yourself too. Because I think about that all the time. I remember I felt this particularly. And today's trends in style, I feel like, have kind of shifted to lots of things, right? Like before, like if you were to try and get into the Instagram fit pick game, you'd have to have accessories and different clothes and everything. But at the end of the day, it can just be a nice pair of pants and a nice shirt, and that is a sick fit, right? But nobody's doing that anymore. It's like, oh, now check out my cool crop jacket, or check out the sweater that I'm going to layer over and then put a jacket on top of it, but I'm not even going to wear the sweater. I'm going to tie it around my waist, It's stuff like that. But a movie, Point Blank, we talked about Parker last week, I believe, with Lee Marvin, I was struck by your point exactly, the simplicity of the suits there. I mean, I think he wears a bright orange suit jacket at one point, so I don't know if I'm all in on that, but it really is nice, well fitted. They're not necessarily super slim cut, but they're also not this kind of boxy, little more relaxed tailoring. It's kind of somewhere in the middle that really like naturally fits the body. And it was fantastic. I remember seeing that. It's like, dude, how is he wearing just a shirt and a tie and a black suit and looking so dang sick? And that's what these Rat Pack guys were all about. So that's number one. Number two would be Maxwell Smart from the original Get Smart, dude. Now, this one's kind of a loaded gun, because I have no idea if Don Adams, the guy who played Max, actually was a fantastic dresser. But whoever was behind the costuming for that show killed it. They went to town. I mean, the whole entire vibe of Maxwell Smart is something that I wish was not spoofed so hard, because he has a sick apartment. It's like wide open floor plan, red carpets, really cool like bar in the back, some really neat seats and stuff, and then he's wearing awesome suits. He's also wearing, there was a point in time where they had like a different kind of suit that like was fully button up almost to the top, and then it had very small lapels, and you could sometimes wear a belt over top of it, and he looked cool in that. But he wore great 3-piece suits, great single-breasted 1-piece suit or 2-piece suits. The dude was just killing it. So those are my two options, and they're both around the same time frame, so that's why I lumped them in together.
Right. So you got to hate the new trend I'm seeing with suits. It looks like they're going like thicker, wider, fatter.
Yeah.
With like the big 70s pants and loose fits all around the jacket.
I like both. I think that what I like about those trends are they're pushing back towards kind of like the 40s, 50s, and 70s. but I think it was the 60s kind of got a little more like this is the problem with any fashion trend in my mind, is that it becomes the guy who last year was like, get into skinny jeans. The next year's like, oh, get into never wear skinny jeans again. Wear wide legged pants. And then, in like 2 years, skinny jeans are going to come back in and like, oh, skinny jeans are the thing. So I think that you got to cultivate the best of each thing that you see, right? Like I'm not chasing the trends, right? I'm thinking, okay, this is cool. This is sick. The flared pants are cool. I didn't like them a year ago, but now that I see someone wearing them well, I'm like, all right, maybe someone can pull this off. Same thing with like, I saw one guy on Instagram. He was wearing a really, really cool, man, I can't think of the word. It's the suit material that is kind of like stripes.
And stripes?
No, it's for like warmer weather, dude. Why can't I think of it? I just saw one yesterday. No, it's oh, brother. It's going to come to me later on, but it was a really, really cool jacket and suit, and it was more relaxed, and he looked fantastic. Because once again, it's about how you wear it, not necessarily what it is you're wearing.
Corduroy, maybe?
No, dude, it's for the summer. It's it's right on the tip of my tongue. I'll remember it at some point during the episode, and we'll bring it back. But what about you? What do you think of the new style of?
I'm with you on the fact that you just got to cultivate what you like and just wear what you want to wear, and I think that becomes the biggest part of it, and that's going to lead me into my choice of who I picked. It kind of goes right into this philosophy, so I guess I'll lead right into it. Mine was Michael Pearson, who is Matthew McConaughey's character in The Gentleman.
Nice, dude.
The reason I picked that is, obviously, you watch the movie, it's some of the best style and fashion you'll see, because Guy Ritchie is supremely passionate about fashion and suits and things like that. And he was on the Joe Rogan Experience having an interview, and he has this speech that you can look up. It's been clipped, and so you can just watch that moment about owning the suit. And it's that philosophy that the speech he gives there is kind of taken and put it into The Gentleman. If you watch the interview and then you watch the movie, you'll see it. It's in there from a different character. It's this idea that, like, the suit has been kind of taken and mutated and stolen from us in a lot of ways, and made to be this kind of idea of like, oh, that's my corporate, my corporate suit now. It's this symbol of surrender, and you lost your identity, you lost who you were, and now you're just a suit, man. And he was saying that his philosophy, what he loves and what you see in The Gentleman, is that like you have to own the suit again, like want to wear that suit, put it on as a symbol of like beauty and style and sophistication. And, it's you putting on your armor as this character in this role that Pearson is, Matthew McConaughey's character. He's the king, and he's not just saying he's the king, he's become the king. And he's going to show you that, and he's going to present himself as such. And it's like that kind of philosophy of fully being congruent with what you're wearing and feeling good about what you're wearing, I think is the most important part about fashion, even more than fit, like how it fits, is that, you've seen somebody in like, even yourself, maybe you've been the person. I've been the person where I buy something because it looked really fashionable, and I was like, oh, that looks good. And then I put it on, and I'm just like,
I can't wear this.
This doesn't feel right, man. And if I were to wear it out, I'm just kind of like, hey, I just kind of feel awkward, and I'm not owning it, Yeah, you feel like an imposter. So the best attribute about fashion, what I love about that speech and what I love about The Gentleman, is that the characters cultivate fashion for themselves, and each person has a unique style because they're being true to themselves. And I think that is important for us as men to take into consideration. And then when you watch the movie, just for like style purposes, it's some of the cleanest fits, and that goes for many Guy Ritchie films. You watch any of these Guy Ritchie films, mostly lately too, like A Man from U.N.C.L.E. or The Gentleman. Trying to think of another newer one, Wrath of Man. Like there's a bunch of really, really nice outfits, and you're like, wow, Guy Ritchie knows what he's talking about. And when you talk about owning the suit, you kind of make it unique and personalized too. You can add maybe I know Casey loves like the pocket squares and things like that, or some people do the flowers and there's different ways to personalize and unique and own the suit and make it not this symbol of surrender and this corporate overtaking your identity, but no, you are a person of power and sophistication, and you want to wear this damn suit, and you're gonna wear it. I love that.
Yeah, dude. Well said. That is a great pick. The Gentleman, dude. Literally the guy.
Yeah,
He's the guy. Which, to that
pick.
point, the TV show also had some fantastic
Right.
fits, from suits to like just sweaters and trench coats and stuff like that. Which there should be a second season of that coming out soon, which is super exciting. So
Really?
hopefully that is true. Castillo James is the man,
I
and
love
Matthew
James.
McConaughey is the man. So it's cool to have this legacy of well-dressed dudes that mean business. And I think that that's something that can get overlooked or kind of twisted. Is a lot of people see a man in a suit and they think, oh, that's a city slicker. That guy can't work hard. That guy is incapable of that. But I think that that's what these guys bring to the table, right? I mean, Matthew McConaughey's character in The Gentleman is a tough, two-fisted American, and he wears suits because that's what the occasion calls for. So he's prepared, but he's also prepared to get right in the muck and mire and rip that suit to shreds if he has to, right? And that's one of the benefits of shopping at a Goodwill or any sort of thrift shop. I mean, this jacket right here, I got it yesterday. It says, tailored exclusively for Adam Santucci. So this is like some guy's tailored suit, and he was almost the exact same measurements as me. So for $15, I got this hand-tailored suit that fits me like a glove. I mean, it's maybe for concealed carry purposes, it's slightly too small because I think it fits me exactly right, and you usually want to go a little bit bigger so that your gun's not, bulging in the wrong places and all that stuff. But I could go out there right away. Someone's car's on the side of the road stuck. I can get in the dirt and grime and push that out of here because at the end of the day, I only spent $15. But if I had spent $1,500 for this suit, the same thing is of mind, right? Like, you're not limited by your suit. You're only limited by people's view of you. And then that's one of the other benefits of the suit, dude, is like no one's expecting the tough men's adventure fiction guy necessarily. They either know as soon as they see you, they're like, okay, that's the guy who's the men's adventure fiction guy, or they see and like, oh, that guy, I can discount him as a threat, and then next thing you know, you're slugging it with the best of them in your suit. The sleeves are ripping off. It's just like Humphrey Bogart movie. So I think you bring great character to the table. I remember even just like the opening line of the movie, right? Of The Gentleman talks about kind of that concept of doesn't he talk about like the lion or something like that?
Yeah, and I wish I remembered the speech better, but that is where he says like you cannot like say you're the king, you must be the king kind of thing.
Right,
it's
dude.
a great speech. I'm gonna have to rewatch the movie entirely because I don't remember it as much as I would like to, and it's such a great movie.
The worst part about that movie is it is like living proof that there's stuff made more for men than for women. At least for my wife, because I remember I put it on with my wife and my twin sister-in-law, and we're watching it, and I'm like riveted in. And it's like my second time watching. I'm like, dude, this is so sick. Aren't you guys loving it? And they're both like, what is going on? And I think it's because of Guy Ritchie's like the way that he films stuff, and it cuts so drastically and moves around so quickly.
That's what Shauna loves about it. She loves Guy Ritchie's ability to
That's awesome, dude.
when he's talking about something and he'll jump to another scene. She particularly loves King Arthur with him because that scene,
Which I still have to see.
You do have to see that, but there's a part where he's like cutting to different people, and he's like, "It's George," and he's like, "No, not that George, this George," and it's like cutting to different guys, and she loves that kind of thing about Guy Ritchie. So she's always been a big Guy Ritchie fan, luckily.
Dude, there you go.
But
maybe
we
Guy
do
Ritchie
disagree on 90% of television. We do come together on Guy Ritchie.
That's beautiful. Guy Ritchie brings husbands and wives together, or does not bring them together. We can move on to the next one. Able to handle themselves in any situation. You can. You want to start off this one?
Sure. Yeah. So when I was saying how it's composed and capable, with those two words in mind, is how you got to picture my guy, because especially composed comes to mind when I think of Driver from Drive. Ryan Gosling's character in that movie does not have a whole lot of range of emotion, does he? He's just ready to go, and he's just gonna flat-faced make it through the movie, and that's been an argument, it's a debate that I've had with my dad since the movie came out. Is he was like, this Ryan Gosling guy is a terrible actor, and I was like, Dad, what are you talking about? And he always says how Drive, he doesn't say any words,
Dude,
he
that's
doesn't make any
literally
facial
me.
expressions. And I'm like, dude, he's the greatest. He's awesome.
Yeah.
But he does, he's right. The character is very stoic, for lack of a better way of putting it. He's very like, I'm just gonna do my business, and I'm not gonna make a whole lot of reaction. He doesn't get super heightened. You can see and this is why he's a good actor. You can kind of see in the biggest moments, like let's think about that elevator sequence where he, does what he does in the elevator. You see his face, he's kind of shaking behind the eyes, and he's red a little bit, but he's not making he's not screaming, he's not making a big thing out of this. So I love how composed he is. And when it comes to capable, the movie does keep escalating and taking turns, and it keeps going from like, oh, this job was supposed to be here, and I have my rules, and I'm very good at this, and I'm very professional. But then it's like, when things go here, he's not all of a sudden like, well, no. He's just, okay, let me handle that. And then when it goes up here, he's like, let me handle that. And he's just handling it and handling it. And he's staying composed, and he's staying straight on to the fact that they use his, his face at the end to be like, is he? Okay, no, we're good. For people who've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But like, it's cool. I think he's a great example of just what's the word? Grace under pressure. He's very good at that.
That's awesome. Yeah, very, very great example of that. I think you make a fantastic argument for it. I wasn't even against the idea, but I think you nailed down every single spot that anyone could have questions about. Because that's the point, right? Like, originally you start the movie thinking like, okay, he's a wheelman. That's all he's going to do. He's the driver. That's literally his job. And that's why the movie's called that. And then as things happen, you're like, okay, well, he's not going to be able to handle that. And then he's able to handle that. And then he's able to escalate it himself. And he's the one capable. He's the one able to bring the energy and meet the energy that's being brought. And I think that's exactly what it is, right? It's good to be able to kind of float under the radar as you need to. It's not... That kind of gets into the whole like concealed carry versus open carry thing, right? Like, open carry has its benefits of people now know that there's a threat to any sort of danger coming, but then you also make yourself the number one target to be taken out, right? So if you're going around being like, oh yeah, I'm the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu king, and like I can take anybody, and it's like, yeah, you probably can, but now the first person that's going to get shot is you, bro. You know what I mean? So then that's kind of like starting out. Everybody's like, okay, well, he's just a kind of like special needs driver guy. I don't need to think about him at all. He's dealt himself out of the equation here. And the next thing you know, he's the man, So it's cool to have that juxtaposition of being like, okay, this guy is not a threat or even really on my radar at all, but he is the ultimate threat. So there's something to be said for that, of being capable for any situation, but also having a commanding presence, but also not having too commanding of a presence so that people are headhunting you. So great pick.
Yeah, being underestimated that's a good point you bring to the table. It's a very important thing, being underestimated.
Right.
I like that.
But not to the point of people then picking on you because you seem weak. Right? It's a big spectrum there that you gotta figure out. And nobody wanted to pick on him.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting that, like, because when you asked that question, I was thinking about these characters. There's so many plots like Drive, and there's so many different characters you can see kind of reacting to it, even in driving films, like Baby Driver and The Wheelman, like,
or Taxi Driver, maybe.
Taxi Driver could count a little bit, but that guy's also a little bit more like the driver. Yeah, he's more like the driver. But someone like Wheelman, right? Let's use that one for example. Frank Grillo. Guy cannot stop screaming for more than 3 seconds in that movie. I mean? He's always like, what's going on here? What are we doing? He's always overreacting. It's like, dude, chill. The guy from Drive is always just even keeled, like ready to go. So give that guy points for being calm under pressure.
When no one can keep their head about you and are blaming you, right? He's that guy.
What about you? Who'd you pick for this one?
Dude, I went with... Also could have been my style guy, which you'll see is a common thread between most of these dudes. But it's my main man Jim Rockford, dude.
Dude,
I
yeah.
wasn't even, he came out totally left field. I wrote
It's a
down, I
great
was gonna,
pick.
once again, dude, I was thinking James Bond for this, because James Bond is
He
fantastic at
is.
being the rugged adventurer, being the high class guy. So I was thinking I wanted to do somebody who had aspects of the gentleman, like, all right, they're able to blend into any circumstance that they find themselves in, whether it's high class, whether they're outside, like I said, pushing the vehicle out of the dirt if they're in their trailer. And I had James sitting there, and my wife was talking to me, and I looked back, and I was like, James Garner, James Rockford, Jimmy Rockford, dude, I gotta go with my main man from the Rockford Files. And he is a primo example of being able to handle any situation. I believe this came out in the late 60s, early 70s. Maybe it was just the 70s straight up, because I think Magnum came out in the 80s, right? And our boy Tom Selleck played a guy named Lance in Rockford in 2 episodes of Private Investigator, and that kind of springboarded him into Tommy Magnum. But yeah, Jim Rockford is a private investigator in LA, I believe. I watched this show as probably like a 14, 15-year-old kid, because my parents, we would just watch it while we ate dinner and hung out and stuff, and it's great. He's certainly capable and ready to handle any situation, and he's $200 a day plus expenses. That's his price, take it or leave it, and he is able to navigate each situation very deftly, right? Like, whether it's dealing with hardened criminals, a beautiful woman, a rich, like, white collar crime guy, he can handle it all, and he does it well. And he's just as quick with a smart remark or a diffusing word or with a fist. And man, when he has to bring that 38 special out of the cookie jar, the bad guys are in for some trouble. So fantastic. He's capable of doing his own car work. James Garner did all of his driving stunts for that show himself. So not only there's a story of James Garner himself talking down Charles Bronson, dude, on the set of The Great Escape. They were playing poker, and Charles Bronson wasn't going to pay the guy out and tried to like sneak off. And Jim Garner, I think, was 6'4" or 5", dude.
Yeah,
big
dude.
Stud, handsome as can be.
The handsomest.
And he talked down Charles Bronson, who not quite as tall, but
humongous, jacked,
crazy jacked, especially for the time,
for that
dude.
time period,
yeah, nuts. So, yeah, Jim Rockford, dude, can't beat him. And you got me thinking about him, because we went from Magnum summer to Rockford fall, dude. I love that.
That show is so good for anybody who is a Magnum fan or a fan of what we talk about here. It's a hidden gem that I hadn't seen, and then I started it, and I was just, wow, this is what heaven must look like, because it is such a good show. And to your point, I think it's such a good pick. In different episodes, he finds himself in different scenarios, and as it escalates, you as the audience member, you don't even know how he's handling it at first. You're like, oh, is he kind of out of his element here? But then he's like, oh, he was tricking them, and he tricked me too. He's really, really good on his feet, and being like a very smart, quick thinking character that is always maneuvering and always 3 steps ahead. And I really appreciate that in a character where they can be so kind of smart that they come up with solutions that outwit you as the viewer, where you're like, oh, you could definitely do this, and he's like, yeah, you could, but then he goes and does like B or C or D, and you're like, oh, that was cool. I like that. I like that. So that's a very good pick.
Right. That's something that I feel like is one of the fine lines that men's adventure fiction runs, right? With the character who is ultra capable, it's easy for a lot of people to write off characters like that as, oh, they're going to succeed every time, so they're no longer interesting, and they get pushed too easily into Superman syndrome type of characters, right? But that's the thing that I love the most about it. And this is a quick side tangent, but I think for me, every time that I think about a movie or a TV show or any sort of book or men's adventure fiction thing, it immediately, this is going to be a crazy pool, so bear with me. But it immediately makes me think of Jesus, right? And I think that's why there's so many, anytime I see a sacrifice play done in film or book or TV, and it's not executed perfectly, I'm like, all right, well, this sucks. get that out of here. I don't like that at all. Because, dude, Jesus is the ultimate men's adventure fiction hero. Now, bear with me. Like I said, I'm going on the deep end here, but I think about it all the time, dude. Literally, the ultimate undercover insertion. He becomes a human being, fully God, fully human, which is sick. And then he sets it up, dude, exactly like Jim Rockford would, where the devil's like, dude, I got him. I took him off the game. But really, that was what had to happen the whole entire time. The devil played right into his hands, and then Jesus knocked him out of the ballpark, dude. Went and took the keys to death and hell, and then rose again from the dead. The ultimate, ultimate reverse card, dude. Nobody saw that coming. It's too sick. So I think that it is exactly like, I love it when a character has kind of that tact and understanding, and they're ready for the situation, and they manipulate the bad guy into doing exactly what they need to do that they couldn't. It's almost like, I couldn't have done this without you, bad guy. Thank you. You played yourself. So I love that. It's so cool to see. And Jim Rockford is a primo example of that, dude. I mean, there's even his longtime friend, longtime enemy, Angel, who is a ex-con, huckster, con man, dude. He is a brutal character, and every time he's in an episode, you know that you're in for a rough episode in a good way, because he's always going to be double dealing and trying to do things. But Jim knows him so well that he's able to kind of like play on off of him, trying to screw him over, you know, and he's able to play around it. And I think that that's such a good thing, is as you have these characters like a series character that you get to know, and you see him play through the field of all these guys, you begin to know him, and then you begin to know the people around him. And so it's really refreshing and cool to see him handle situations similar to how he would usually handle them, because that gives you kind of like that confidence in who he is as a person. But it's also cool to see him outsmart somebody and come in from an angle that you're like, oh, that's not necessarily something he would do, but it makes him cooler because he's able to think on his feet. So fantastic way to kind of play with those two rules.
Right. Especially with such a long series, you're going to see him do so many different things in so many different ways, so they keep him fresh and use that capability to their advantage, and it makes for a great show. For sure. Now, I guess we're on to the next one. Take us away with the next one.
You did yours already, right? This would be compassion.
Not for the third one.
Okay, yeah. I meant for this.
I did drop. Yeah.
Compassionate, empathetic, kind of understanding. So, who you got? You want to go first, or you want me to?
You should take this one. All
right, dude. I'm going to another stylish private investigator, dude. Now, I'm going with my main man, Joe Mannix. Fantastic show from the 60s, featuring Mike Connors, who was in another fantastic show called Tightrope, where he played one of the coolest characters of all time, but it was so good that they canceled the show because it was too violent. But basically, his character would go undercover. He was the undercover guy. He didn't work for any organization. He worked for the undercover organization, and he would be shipped in to any police station in the whole entire United States and go undercover without the police knowing and without the military or the mafia knowing. So they would be like, he'd be fighting both guys, and he'd always like save the police and kill the crime guys. It was super sick. It's on YouTube, so if you want to check it out, check it out. But Mannix was basically, they were like, Mike, you did a really good job being this badass secret agent detective guy. Come back, but let's do a little less violence. And he is fantastic. He starts out working for private detective agency, and then he goes out on his own, hangs his own shingle, and does his own stuff. And he is, the reason I picked him as compassionate is because every episode they do a really, really good job of giving you cases that have kind of a, I don't know if the term, this should be like a genre term, but kind of like a lost lamb character, right? And oftentimes it's a very pretty woman. Sometimes it's like a young man who's in over his head. And other times it's one of Mannix's friends, and he has to see them. I mean, one episode is about a friend who got stuck, like had a back-breaking injury, and is literally in this like cryopod-looking thing, because that's the only way that he can breathe. It's like a lung type of thing or something like that. And this is his good buddy, and so he does such a good job of illustrating a guy who's not necessarily taking the cases for the money, right? Like, he gets pulled in and invested in this person. He gets paid. He's not doing it for free, for sure, but he would be willing to because he cares about these individuals, and he is literally like the quintessential good guy, where he is doing it for the greater good. He's doing it because he's empathetic and compassionate, but also, dude, mean with that right cross and a quick draw from the shoulder holster, dude. So he's ready for it, but he's able to bring that, I'm doing this because I care about you, and we got to get out of this together. Like, there's one where he's stuck in his office with 3 bank robbers whose, I think, the wife of one of their old partners came to him for help because her husband was killed by these guys years ago, and they think that she knows where the money is. And it's just like, it's a kind of like a classic trope played off really well, and that he's like, all right, well, I gotta fight these guys now because they're bad guys, but I also am like looking out for this lost lamb of this little girl who needs help. So it's super cool character, and the biggest crime of all time is that it's not streaming anywhere. I think the first 2 seasons are streaming maybe on like Tubi or something like that, but really good
I don't
show.
think I even know that show. Now that, we were talking
Dude,
about
he's a handsome son of a gun, and he always dresses very well.
Nice.
So cool guy.
That's really cool. It sounds, sounds a little bit different, but it reminds me of like the Paul Walker Fast and Furious situation where you get in with the guys and you're still looking out for them, and then you start to care for them, and you
right.
work both sides. Right.
Right, dude.
That's awesome. Yeah. It takes a very empathetic person, very understanding person to be undercover, I imagine. Someone who can put themselves in their shoes, literally, and become one of them. That's a big skill. So, nice pick, dude. I'll have to check that show out. I wish I had more to say about it.
Check out
I don't know.
both Tightrope and Mannix, dude. I like to imagine that they're that's a sequel series, but nobody's ever confirmed it. But it's the same guy. For sure. Yeah, dude. For sure the same guy. What about you? Who's your empathetic, compassionate guy?
My compassionate guy is Rocky Balboa. I feel like
fantastic.
He's the best choice for me because of this conversation in particular about men's adventure fiction, compassionate empathy. I think what makes Rocky work so well is that he is like this perfect mix of, wow, that guy's like a street tough, isn't he like a mob? And I know that he is. This is me being a character in the story.
Right. But
isn't he like a mafia guy? Like, isn't he mobbed up? Doesn't he break figures? Like, that guy's a criminal. He's like a greasy crime affiliated bum to them, but he's also the guy who walks girls home to make sure they're safe and gives them life lessons. He's the guy who picks up the drunk from outside, puts him on his shoulders, and puts him back inside because it's cold. He's the one who is going to defend Apollo Creed, even though Apollo Creed's talking nonsense about him. He's like, hey, you don't talk about the champ like that, when the bartender says a racial slur about him. He's so caring, and he talks to his turtles, and he's so soft. He cares about Adrian and defends her. It's beautiful to see that, like, he's able to mix those two worlds of being the tough and ferocious fighter while being the compassionate, empathetic, and caring lover side of him. I think the lover-fighter kind of dynamic is played so perfectly with Stallone and Rocky in particular in that character. So if you ever need to see like what empathetic or compassionate masculinity looks like, I think that is the character. And there's a scene in Rocky Balboa that I can kind of highlight too, and then we can move on, because I'm sure there's 6 movies. I don't want to be like, well, remember this too also. So this one, we'll just leave it off here, because it shows the line perfectly, where he's with that character that he walked home from the first one, Little Marie, and they're at a bar, and people start talking nonsense to her, and they're about to leave, and she's like, just forget it. She says, it's all right. And he says, no, Little Marie, it's not all right. And then he gets out of the car, and he goes and talks to him, and he like slams the guy up against the wall, and he's like, you get to apologize and things like that. And he does, and then he leaves. He doesn't do anything further. He just like, hey, that's not okay. You just hurt her feelings, apologize. And then he leaves, and that's all that happens. But it's like, he's willing to fight when he has to, but he cares about this person, and he's also caring about the other person. He's not going to smash him into oblivion because he knows they're drunk and they're just being wild, and he's like, you got to take that back. So I love that he's this blend of the two. So for a men's adventure fiction list of compassionate and empathetic, gotta go Rocky for me.
Yeah, dude, that's a great Great choice. He
I
is.
love that guy.
It's like he's got the bear energy in both the teddy bear and the grizzly
Yeah,
bear, dude. Right? Like
it's true.
he's the sweetest guy of all time, but he'll literally knock you out in a heartbeat.
Right.
Right? He's the man, and it's cool, like the fact that he is so the kind of like, is he intelligent at all? It's like, oh, he's kind of like just a big dumb guy, but then you see that he is like, he's got a really intelligent, for sure, fight IQ. As the movies progress, he learns more and more and gets better and better, and he's got that heart that just never stops. And
He reads Louis L'Amour, so he's pretty solid.
yeah, dude, he's locked
pretty
in.
good.
He doesn't get smarter than Louis L'Amour. But yeah, great choice. Rocky is definitely got it in spades when it comes to feeling for other people. So
I think
well
this
done, man.
December we got to do an episode on Rocky. We have
Yeah,
to. We can't
I
do it
think
in
so.
November because it's going to be Noir November, but we'll do it in
Right.
December.
We'll do a December Rocky. Not a knockout for the end of the year kind of thing.
Yeah, dude.
Now the next one is physical force, presence, fitness. So that physical presence, physical fitness, just a force of nature. You want to go first, or you want me to take it away?
Yeah, I'll take this one just because it's the same exact guy as last time. I
Dude,
did
let's
Rambo.
go. My man.
Went Rocky, Rambo, probably an easy association as my mind was already on Rocky to be like Rambo. There's many
Right.
people I could have picked. I think when we said the most physically fit episode, wasn't it Daniel Craig's Bond? I could have totally picked
Yeah.
him. But for me, when I was thinking about like self-disciplined and like physically imposing, Rambo came to mind because, you know, he's first off jacked beyond belief. So like physically, like looks
Yeah.
intimidating, but also, from the very first movie, he's kind of, and in the book, he is literally naked. So it's like when he's stripped down to nothing, he's able to survive and take on a horde of people coming after him, and he's supremely capable to get himself not only clothed and surviving in the cold, but he's also going to kill you
Killing
and
people.
take care
Yeah,
of business.
dude.
It's like he is supremely capable, supremely physically fit. Because imagine being naked out in the wilderness in Washington, and it was around Christmas, I think.
Yeah, dude.
So it's like this is cold and physically taxing of like mountain climbing and fighting off men and fighting for your life with no food or water quickly available is a challenge in of itself. And then you look at the sequels, he's always growing and getting more muscular, breaking rocks in the second one, and then he's fighting Kali stick fighting in the third. My man's
Too sick.
always staying physical and staying disciplined, and the sheer numbers, I know it's 80s movie and it's just not realistic, but when we're talking about physically imposing, the guy can take on like tanks and helicopters and like hundreds of dudes, and he's one guy ready to go. So for me, Rambo is like the epitome of just the masculine force of nature. You throw him into Vietnam solved, dude, we won. Don't worry about it. Send him to Russia in the third one or whatever. The Russians don't even exist anymore, dude. Don't worry about it.
Right. Yeah, he's a great option. And I think that he is like, I don't know. You could have I mean, for my money, I feel like he's winning on the physique, right? Like, I know Arnold was actually Mr. Olympia or whatever it is, the bodybuilding champ, but
Yeah, a little too huge for my taste.
when you think of like men's adventure fiction or action hero physique, it's definitely 100% Sylvester Stallone. Like it's just locked in. He literally is. He looks like an action figure. It's so sick. I mean, every young man, I feel like, growing up when they get into like the workout game is like looking at Sylvester Stallone. There's that one shot of him in like a pair of orange shorts or something, and he's got like crazy spray tan, and he's just looking like chiseled as can be. And you're like, bro, if only I could look that sick. So I think that's a great
Pictures
one.
of him that are just frighteningly shredded. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is that? How is that possible?
How is it possible, dude?
How do you do this?
So yeah, I think that you couldn't be more on target with that. He is fantastic, and like you said, I mean, he was on the team for the putting the team together episode for a good reason. He's capable in firearms, weapons, bows and arrows, dude. Hand-to-hand
Guy's a
combat
beast.
stuff. He's the beast, dude. He's the knife guy too.
Yeah.
So super sick.
Even though no knife in the book, unfortunately.
No knife in the book. What, dude? Oh,
Crazy.
yeah, fantastic.
What about you, man? Who's the physically imposing force on your
you
side?
described my guy earlier when you were describing Rocky. I was like, what are you talking about my guy for? You said a greasy crime guy. And I was like, well, hold on. First of all, stay away from the Italians, you son of a bitch. Stay out of here.
It's because he doesn't shower, not because he's Italian.
It's olive oil in the hair. We're forced to do it. I don't know. But I was thinking long and hard about this, dude. Once again, I'm sitting there. It's like 10:35, 10:40. I'm like, I don't know what to do. But then I thought, I locked in, dude. And once again, dude, going with another classy guy because he's in the Mafia. In fact, he's not only in the Mafia, he is the headlining character of Mafia 2. I'm talking about my main man, Vito Scaletta.
Dude, what a
Vito
pick.
Scaletta. The old hand in the 45, say, Vito, take this in case times get hard. Now, this is a video game, of course. And he's not necessarily the most jacked guy of all time. But first of all, if you're an Italian, you gotta be at least a little jacked because you're gonna be wearing those white ribbed tank tops.
It's 1940, so he's jacked for 1940, my guy.
Well, I mean, he's jacked in general, but he's not like, video games don't ever really make anybody like super chiseled unless it's like a fighting game.
Right.
But
And then it's just like,
here's the pitch, right? We got the commanding presence, the physical force, the physical presence is what I was thinking about. There's a whole section of Mafia 2. This could be wrong, but I'm 90% sure it's correct, where he goes into prison, dude. And being in prison in 1940s and being kind of like Mafia affiliated, not where you want to be, because prison is a terrible place, right? We all know.
it's
We all know what I'm
to
talking.
box in prison.
And sure enough, dude, he learned to box in prison. And he becomes like the prison boxing champ. And so not only that, but then he also is strong enough and handsome enough that he becomes attractive to a mob boss in there. And this is where things get a little nip and tuck, a little dicey, dude. And you think, oh no, what am I about to play through? This is terrible. But the Mafia guys set him up and they give him like a razor blade, I think, that he keeps in his mouth, something like that. And they send him in there, dude. And you're like, this is super creepy. But then it's all to assassinate this one guy. So I think that that's like super sick because you always end up thinking, like, dude, if I got to prison, would I make it out alive? And you want to be the Vito Scaletta, dude. You want to be the pro boxer, the guy who's able to take down the dudes coming after you. Easy mode, dude. So awesome physical presence there to survive jail, no problem. And then he gets out on the other side, dude, and he becomes a made man. He's taking out people left and right. I don't know how you played the game, but I was fighting people all the time.
I was going to say, dude, my Vito Scaletta is punching every dude on the street and knocking them out easily, so he's very much so in control.
He is the physical presence king. So I think that super cool character, really great games. The third one, I still have it. I mean, that guy was also jacked out of his mind. Yeah, crazy. And then the new one, Mafia: The Old Country, just came out, which I've not gotten to play.
Dude, I still want to play that so bad.
Yeah, me too.
I got to figure it out.
We should do a men's adventure fiction Mafia Old Country playthrough. That would be truly terrible. It would be the worst video game playing of all time.
Especially
for me.
For video games.
Yeah, we're playing it on like
one, just getting destroyed.
The level below easy is like beginner or like
child's mode.
Yeah, child's mode. But yeah, any thoughts on Vito, my main man, dude?
Dude, I just gotta say how much Mafia 2 is amazing, and I wish it was a movie. But since it's not, if you gotta go play the game, it's so well written, it's so good. And to your point, really Vito definitely counts as the capable beast because the guy is a one-man army. And I know it's a video game, so people are going to say unfair, but man, the amount of people that you rip through in that game by yourself, for the most part. Because maybe sometimes you have Joe or whatnot.
Yeah.
But
my main man.
You are just dusting people left and right.
Yeah,
and
dude.
It is incredible how just you can drive, in that game, you can machine gun places, you can box. The guy has all the skill sets, and he's stealthy, So I think it's a great choice. All I've got to say is I approve that message.
Yeah, dude, I remember I'm not a big fan of any sort of like, oh, you're in jail now. But then it was it was like something from 1923, dude, where he's on the ship and he's boxing. I was like, this is too sick. And then all of the stuff after that. And that's one of my favorite parts about those games are how you like are able to buy new clothes and get more stylish and get the cool hats and the new guns and stuff. So it's just fantastic. The step up of starting with the baselines of just being good with the old fisticuffs and then getting the pistol, the knives, the Tommy guns, dude. Fantastic stuff.
He's a vet too. World War II.
He is a vet, dude. And you get to play a little World War II things. Now, final one, dude. And I can go first. You can go first. Doesn't matter. But this is knows things. Is I can't remember how you wrote it, but
oh yeah, he's like cultivated, knowledgeable.
Yeah, dude. Cultivated.
A worldly man.
Exactly. Who you got? You want me to go first?
You got it. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Dude, this one was tough. I was racking my mind on this, and this is kind of a two-parter. First part would be Brett Maverick, which is James Garner again, dude, or Mel Gibson, depending on which one you're watching.
Dude, both of those guys, epic. 10
fantastic. And then the other one, also a Wild West gambler guy, would be Will Riley from Riley's Luck, Louis L'Amour story. So I originally had him, but we've talked about him before with Riley's Luck, but I just was going for that kind of like, these guys are really cool to me because both Riley and Maverick have their fancy duds with the string tie and the kind of ruffled shirt and the tuxedos. And then they also have the, I am going to be riding cattle, like doing the cattle drive because I got to get to the next place where I do my gambling, and I think that's super cool to have the guy who's like, oh, okay, I know how to gamble like nobody's business. I know my way around the smoky back room with my stogie or my pipe, and I know, like, these guys, I don't know that it was so much then because your alcohol and your tobacco and your, like, cards were all kind of set in stone. There wasn't, like, a lot of variety. But, I mean, those guys today, if you took Riley or Maverick and transported them today in, like, kind of a modern thing, dude, they would be the connoisseurs of all time. Like, they would be smoking the Fuente Opus X's. They'd find, like, really high quality stuff. They know about what makes a Sober Mesa Brulee cigar different than any other cigar and why that natural sweetness is fantastic. They know about Virginia tobaccos and pipe tobaccos and artisan carvers stuff. They would know the best alcohols on there. They would have some sneak picks for all of those things that, like, people, oh, I wasn't expecting that, but that's sick. They know how to handle
Veritas as well.
Exactly. They would certainly read Veritas. They would handle themselves in every situation because they know the different situations, and that's what Riley's Luck literally is. That it's Will Riley teaching this young man how to be a man. I remember a super sick scene with a bullwhip, right? So Riley knows his way around the card table. He knows his way around the bullwhip. He's just the man, dude. Too sick.
Yeah, good on you for thinking of knowledge outside of, like, oh, he's good with textbook knowledge and he's a smart guy as far as, like, school stuff.
Right.
A lot of people, including myself, when I made my pick, like, we immediately think that. And I remember one of the first times that it clicked to me that, like, dude, knowledge is not just, like, school knowledge. Like, there are things you can know that are important, and you are very, very smart, but not how the school would tell you you're smart.
Right.
And it was when I learned about Mike Tyson's, like, relationship with Customato, his trainer, when he was younger, and how they used to watch all these old fight tapes and, like, study fight boxing history and all that kind of stuff. And Mike Tyson has, like, an immense boxing knowledge. He could tell you, like, what happened in the third round of this fight back in 1908 or whatever, when they watched it. He could tell you about that detail and what he learned. And I was like, dude, that guy is a genius when it comes to that. He's like a savant when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But you would be told he's an idiot because he doesn't know English that well. He can't really, back then, I'm sure he's smarter now, but, like, he couldn't really read that much and it wasn't that educated. But I was like, no, that guy is smart. And you're right. I mean, learning how to rope and ride and just, like, live as a cowboy, there's a lot of knowledge that is in that. There's a lot of smarts that go into that don't have anything do with textbook knowledge, and I think that's important for people to know.
Right.
Like, it's not about how good are you at school. There's a lot
Yeah.
that you could be smart at, and learn about.
Right. Right. I think that that's like one of the good things to as a man is like to know, not necessarily like to know a lot about a little is really good as well, and you should cultivate that, but you should also know a little about a lot for sure, like not necessarily that I'm capable in every single thing that I do, but if we spring a leak, I should be able to change out a single pipe, hopefully, or something like that. If I've got to replace a toilet, if I've got to do whatever it is, those aren't the things that they teach you in school, right? Like if I got to handle the taxes, and I mean, it's stuff like that. It's not necessarily the most glamorous stuff, but it's the good stuff that you need to know, because someone has to be capable, and hopefully it's you, because otherwise you're going to be paying a lot of money to get someone who is capable to do it.
Rocky V situation where you give up power of attorney and lose all your money and go back to your old house.
Exactly. Don't want that. Be the attorney, dude. Be the attorney.
Yeah. Steal Rocky's money and you get the house.
Exactly. It's genius. Who do you got? What's your pick?
So I did get caught up thinking like school smarts and textbooks. So
Yeah.
Professor Indiana Jones, dude.
Dude, genius.
Because I was like, I mean, the guy is knowledgeable, right? I mean, the guy knows his stuff to the point where he teaches it. Some of the best.
Yeah.
It takes a deeper amount of knowledge to teach something than to just kind of know and explore it. And the guy does both. I love that he takes his knowledge and applies it. I think applying your knowledge is so important. You see him do that in the films. He's taking what he knows, his history, and it's bringing forth what he needs to, the steps he needs to take and the roadmap that he needs to go on to get to the treasure. So I think that character of Indiana Jones is a really good kind of role model or such to show younger men of why it is important to cultivate something you're passionate about and that you can get knowledgeable on, and how you should apply it and apply that knowledge and go forward in your life to pursue that knowledge in a way that's tangible, however that looks. Obviously, it's very plain and simple. It's treasure hunting for him, but let's say for us, well, obviously we love men's adventure fiction. We love this kind of stuff, so we're getting super knowledgeable about it. We read all the Louis L'Amour, but then we're going to go apply it. We're going to try to write our own stories. We're going to go chase our own treasure of like making this great again and making Veritas books be seen right next to Jack Carr books in Barnes & Noble one day. It's like we're going to do all these things that will be real world transferable, all based back to our knowledge and love of the genre. So that's why I picked Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, to your point for like men's adventure fiction, it's nice knowing a lot of things so that when I'm writing about some random place in South America, I'm not like, got to spend 6 hours doing research or 12 hours doing research. So it's nice to have like a basic knowledge of a lot of stuff, And then Indy is a great example. I mean, for school smarts for sure, but also that's like, I think that knowledge of history is fantastic, right? Because if you know the past, then you're less bound to repeat the failings of the past. And there's nothing cooler than hearing all sorts of really crazy stories from history, because that's what I think all the time. If history is not one of your favorite subjects in school, then you got a very bad teacher. It's literally the story of the entire world. Everything that's ever been in a men's adventure fiction story, everything that's ever been in a rom-com is based off of history. It's things that have happened before that art has imitated, or they say life imitates art. So at the same time, it's like, man, if you've seen a good movie, odds are you're going to see that played throughout history. So very, very good point there with Indy. Indy is just, I mean, he fits the whole list for sure.
He's one of those comprehensive men who gets it all.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Awesome. Dude, what a fun idea you had for an episode, my guy.
I know, dude. This was your idea.
Was it?
Yeah, for sure.
Was it? Maybe it was.
What a secret
great episode idea for me. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you did
that. But I thought it was a good episode nonetheless. I thought this was fun.
No,
and I appreciate your picks, dude.
I'm super happy you suggested it. There's nothing quite like talking about Men's
So
Adventure
sick. I
Fiction.
don't even remember making that suggestion. So there we go.
Dude, he's the sickest guy around. He compliments himself for episode suggestions, but makes his co-host feel like he was the one who came up with it. Thank you. I'm glad I picked this episode topic.
You're the man, dude. That was great.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. If you want another guy who ticks all these marks, check out Mitch Mayhew, dude. He is here. He is a comprehensive man. Ready for anything, dude. I don't want to spoil anything, so I was gonna say there's a 6 scene where he does got a little ice cream cone from the kids there.
Amazing. Thank you.
New pick for compassionate tough guy is LS Goodish, dude. Father and boxing champion, dude. Too sick. But yeah, check out Mitch Mayhew. Come see me in Vegas. I was just featured on another podcast. We recorded yesterday, but it won't go live until after Halloween, so I won't say any more until then.
Okay.
But
I'm excited for that one.
Keep your eyes peeled. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But I won't say any more. Other than that, dude, we just got through a long haul of sick Veritas books coming out. So check it out. I don't even think we talked about it yet, but last week Jeff Pintabona brought the heat a second time, dude. The back-to-back releases, and this one's perfect.
Beast, dude.
Yeah. If you were watching this now, you have enough time to pick this book up and read Night Horrors before Halloween. It is fantastic. I am admittedly not a big horror guy and have never really been a huge horror guy, but this one just has so much pulpy heart, so much high adventure, so much men's adventure fiction. It is fantastic. I think it's four stories. Epic. I can't say enough.
If you are a horror guy, it is like Hammer, those Hammer horror films met men's adventure fiction. They had like
it's so good.
A good collaboration, and it became Night Horrors because
it focuses a lot on the Universal monsters, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Universal monsters, they kind of were remade with these films called the Hammer horror films.
Yeah.
There's like these more gritty, hard takes on those guys, so it's a lot like a Hammer horror film with men's adventure fiction flavors to it. It is awesome.
It's fantastic.
You guys should definitely check it out.
But yeah, it was.
I can't believe that he's writing so prolifically, dude. He also just put a story out on the Substack. It's
there you go, dude. He's locked and loaded.
Impressive.
It's what you love to see. Great stories coming out at regular intervals. So you guys, there's a lot of Veritas stuff that just came out. Enjoy it, and then we'll ring in the new year well with some more fun stuff coming. But we're so pumped to be here. Super excited for Vegas. Super excited for Mitch Mayhew too in Night Horrors. So check them out. There's also, for anyone in Pittsburgh, there's a pretty sick event coming up this week, right, Luke?
Oh yeah. If you're in Pittsburgh, if you're in my area, Veritas is hosting a costume party. That's going to be at Bubba's Burgers in South Point. So if you are in the area, you know what I'm talking about, and you can make the trip, definitely come. It'll be me and Casey hosting this Halloween party for Veritas. We're using it as sort of a mixer to have other filmmakers meet other filmmakers or actors or other writers meet us, and different kind of people in Pittsburgh who are in the arts meet each other, collab, mix, because that's how good work happens, right? Me and Nathaniel met each other. We got to do all that we got to do together. So we want to help cultivate those relationships with other people. So if you are a creative in the Pittsburgh area or around the area who could make the trip, definitely come on down. Bubba's Burgers this Friday at 7 p.m.
Or not even a creative house. If you just like the podcast.
Yeah, if you just enjoy and want to hang out with us. Also,
make it out there. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Always a blast to have another good discussion on the Men's Adventure Fiction podcast.
Of course, man. Thank you so much for spending the time with me. Thank you guys for spending the time with us. Can't wait to hear your picks for these. If you have them here or in the Discord, let us know.
Let us know. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Got a doctor's appointment for man. Weak man.
Fifi?
Yikes. Now, I think I already know the issue. Please, what's going on?
Well, I just been not feeling like the man I should be. My wife has to unscrew the pickle jar for me. I can't crack an egg. I can't even do a push-up. Not even with my knees on the ground. Vision started deteriorating about 3 days ago. I used to have chest hair. It's not around anymore. I used to be able to do 1 pull-up. Can't do any now. Actually, can't even hold on to the bar. When I sweat, it smells like roses. I don't know what's going on, boss.
Oh, man, I've seen this before, and I know exactly what to do, don't worry. Now, you've got a particularly strong case of weak man syndrome, so I'm gonna have to prescribe you 3. I would never do this typically, you only need 1. Body-harming man. Not a tall grass. And particularly potent. Treasured by trade. Now, these Veritas Entertainment books are all you need. Tell me how you feel. Careful with these.
Damn, Doc. I feel better already.
Read Veritas Entertainment and become the man you were meant to be.
Read Veritas today.
Veritas Entertainment would like to remind viewers that this program is pure satire. Our books are not FDA approved, AMA endorsed, or recognized by your mom as a legitimate medical treatment. However, it has been said Veritas readers may experience the following totally unverified and possibly imaginary side effects. 30% increase in chest hair density, exact percentage may vary, sudden craving to chop wood shirtless, 2 to 3 more dates per week, plus 200 pounds to your bench press, the uncontrollable urge to unbutton the first several buttons of your shirt, instinctively knowing how to grill anything, including salad, a voice that drops half an octave, the ability to parallel park in one smooth motion while maintaining eye contact with onlookers, a statistically significant improvement in beard thickness even in readers who haven't hit puberty or are women, sudden knowledge of magnum PI and Tom Selleck. Side effects are permanent, hilarious, and not covered by insurance. Read responsibly.